Is there anybody there?
Welcome to the Mind Hustle podcast, practical advice for mastering your mindset and self-improvement. I'm your host, magician and mind reader, Dean Odell, and today I'm joined by Gabrielle Preston Banks. Gabrielle is a rapid transformational therapist and coach and helps people to break free from emotional challenges, barriers and trauma, preventing them from living their best lives. Hello and welcome, Gabrielle. Thank you so much for joining us on the Mind Hustle podcast.
Hi, Dean, and really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm excited to chat to everyone and give your listeners some information all about the mind. And I'd just like to say before I start, as always, my intention for everyone is to come from a place of kindness and compassion. And I think everybody needs a bit of that right now. And also, I've got a little pack for anyone that wants to drop me a little email. So if anybody wants to connect with me, on the lines of the kindness thing, if anybody wants to connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn and send me an email, I'm really happy to get that over to them.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you. That sounds wonderful. So what's in that pack, just for a little bit more detail? Don't tell them everything. Leave it a little bit of a secret so they can find out. But yeah, just a little bit of...
It's a really small gift. It's just a little daily affirmation. So I get all my clients to design their own daily affirmations, or I give them daily affirmations, and I've just got this little, just a couple of sheets, and it's just a great thing, a great tool to use every day to get your mindset in the right place.
Brilliant. That sounds really useful. I'm sure people will contact you to get that. That's fantastic. So I just like to dive right in, really. So firstly, I'm really interested to hear about what you do and what is rapid transformational therapy.
Yeah, so I do something called Rapid Transformational Therapy, RTT for short, and I've got my own fusion where I combine it with coaching. So RTT gets to the root cause of any issue. So I have people come to me with trauma, depression, anxiety, emotional issues, relationship issues. It doesn't matter what it is. There is always a root cause. And this method gets to that root cause. So, people have depression, they might be drinking too much, they might be taking drugs, they might be binge eating, they might be watching too much Netflix. All these things are symptoms, and all these things are covering up what's going on underneath. And my therapy gets to what's going on underneath and helps you look at it, understand it. And then the best bit is I give you an amazing transformation that helps you to rewire and reprogram the mind so that you don't have this issue any longer.
Can sort of RTT help people right now? What kinds of people?
Recently worked with a guy, and I'm going to talk to you more about men's mental health in a minute, but worked with a guy that was really struggling throughout lockdown. So it was probably the second lockdown, and he's got his own business. He's married with 3 children. He's got several businesses actually, and in a state agency. And he did give it all up. He wasn't getting on well with his wife. He was just not communicating with his children. He just wanted to end his life, to be quite honest, and just throw his businesses in and just not do that anymore. He just couldn't face anything. He'd be sitting in his car with panic attacks, anxiety attacks. He just didn't know where to turn. And he heard about me, came to me. I worked with him for 3 months, and he's now doing amazing. His businesses are growing, they're thriving, he's expanding. He has date nights with his wife, he plays games with his children. His life's just changed, and he's got a future and he wants to live. And that, for me, that's just amazing that this therapy can help someone in that way. Give you another example. Some people aren't so extreme, they've just got blocks. They just say to me, I've got this imposter syndrome. I can't get on with my business. It's affecting me. I really want to be seen, and I'm not even sure I want to go forward with it. And I can get them to whatever's going on inside of them that's causing that block, and not getting them to be able to live a full life.
Sure. That's amazing. You can do that through what you do and through this type of therapy. But what makes this kind of therapy different to maybe more traditional kind of ideas of like CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, for example?
So I do use CBT within it. So RTT is a combination of CBT, NLP, psychotherapy, and hypnotherapy combined. And on top of that, I use coaching and other modalities as well. And all of this combined makes it really powerful. And one of the main differences, we actually get to that root problem. So we're not looking at somebody's come to me and they've got depression or they're drinking too much. We deal with that, but really there's something going on inside. There's something, that trauma, there's some thought, there's some memory trapped away that they're not looking at, that they're just using that to cover it up. So I get to that trauma, that trapped feeling, that trapped belief. We look at it, and we don't spend months and years looking at it. We spend an hour looking at it and discussing it. The client understands it. As soon as you understand what's causing you to cover that up with the drink, with the net, whatever, the binge eating, you can let it go. And then we can install some better habits and better behaviors. And it just works.
And it sounds like it's a sort of therapy that kind of looks into the sort of subconscious mind a lot.
Yes. Yes.
And I suppose we should. I suppose I've just said the unconscious mind, but I suppose we should define that a little bit. So how would you define the subconscious mind?
Well, it's the part of you that is storing those traumas. It's the part of you that's storing those memories. It's the part of you that's storing all those words that you've heard throughout the years that you've hung on to, that sometimes aren't even yours. You might have had the teacher at school that said, you're useless, you're stored that, and your subconscious mind has stored that. And sometimes it can rule your life, and we need to remove that.
Yeah, I think we can all be guilty of that at some point. And I think it always saddens me when I hear, maybe sort of a younger child or something of that age, saying that they're, not creative or, not very good at something. And they've already then instilled that belief at that young age that they can't do that. And then they go on throughout their life, not being able to do that because they feel that they can't. And I think that's what you're sort of talking about here, is opening up and changing that language in your own mind to actually open up and, being able to do some of these things that you possibly believe you can't.
Exactly that, and that is so important, because the words are the ones that do the damage. And we can absolutely change those words. This is the thing, this is the good news. We don't have to keep those thoughts and feelings inside of us. We can change them. We just have to be prepared to look at them, brave enough to look at them, and recognize that we need help
in making those changes. And RTT is one of the ways to do that. Absolutely. So you mentioned sort of men's mental health, and that's something that you feel quite strongly about. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I do. I feel really strongly about this subject. I've got 2 grown boys myself. I've got a brother, an amazing dad, and they're all really precious to me. And there's so many men that need help right now. And maybe it's your husband, your boyfriend, your friend, your son, your nephew. And, a lot of these people are suffering in silence, and they don't reach out. And this is what makes me really sad, because a high percentage of suicides that are men, and they're not getting help. And I'm not sure if everybody really, percent of my clients are male. And that's quite unusual, because a lot of people that do what I do only deal with women, and I don't know why that is. I think it's because women reach out more, but I see men in my therapy quite a lot. So my point here is to say to any men that are listening to this, 80% of my clients are male. I want to say you're not alone. I work with men most days and I help them become better versions of themselves. So if you're listening, you're going through something, I just want you to know it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to get some help and turn this
Sure.
around.
And I think men's mental health seems to have a more stigma attached to it, perhaps, than women's mental health issues. And why do you think that could be?
Yeah, you see, men are really focused on how they think they're meant to be. They feel that they need to be the tough one, the strong one, the one that doesn't cry, the one that fixes everything. They've been, and it's again the words
Yeah.
they've heard, they've been told not to cry, not to feel. But I say, let's change that pattern, let's change that conversation, because we all
Mm.
need help. And often the person who's holding it all together needs that help the most. And it's like that old story, men don't ask for directions, the same they don't ask for help, it's the same thing.
Mm.
But and also, that statement, man up, it's so
Mm.
overused.
Mm.
I think it's so overused.
Yeah, very much sounds very familiar. Obviously, as a man myself, and even my wife calls me the Iceman, because there's just there's kind of no emotion. If something sort of sad happens within our lives, I sort of keep that constant, and don't necessarily reveal any emotion. So hence why she calls me the Iceman. But I guess what can men like me and people listening do to open up more about sort of mental health.
Yeah, so if you're around a guy and he's appearing grumpy, he might be drinking too much, sleeping too much, just going quiet, shutting down, not talking. These are all signs that there is something going on, and the signs are simpler than you think. These are all signs. And it might, to the actual guy that's going through this, what I'm saying is, it might sound simple, but the simple thing is just to talk. It's not a weakness to talk. Talking is absolutely necessary, because it means that you're expressing those feelings, you're talking about what you're holding on to. And when we hang on to pain and trauma, it affects our health, it affects our life, it affects everybody else around us as well. And it, when we talk about it, when we reach out for help, we can help ourselves free us of all
Sure.
these
And
worries that are going on.
yeah, and I don't often like to talk in sort of generalizations, but I think maybe men, you say it's obviously the sorry, the you want to encourage people to sort of talk, but I think as a man, I struggle knowing what to say. So is there anything that can help people, say like me, that might be struggling with, it's easy to say, oh, you must talk, but is there questions or things that you should be asking to start that conversation? Because that's often the most difficult part.
Yeah, really good question. So what you're saying is, if you're the person that's around them too
Yeah,
much,
if you've identified someone,
yeah,
and
so
what do you say? Because
yeah, make them feel safe. You know, make them feel like you're not about to judge them, and the minute they say something, you're going to be like rah rah rah, and make them feel safe. Encourage them to talk. Encourage them that it's safe to talk. Allow them to say whatever they need to say, and just listen. No judgment. They really, really need to feel safe. And ensure the most important thing, and this is not just for men, just everybody wants to be seen and heard. So whilst that person's talking, no comeback. You're just listening and
no
encouraging them,
judgment.
giving some encouragement. Words like, it's okay not to be okay, it doesn't have to be like this, I'm here for you, you don't have to feel like this, there is help out there. And do you know what? Just like a broken leg needs treatment, you shouldn't neglect your mind. Your mind also needs that. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's so important. And, you know, saying things like feelings are meant to be felt. And, you know, if somebody, even if it's a guy, tears are healing. It's safe to get help. And it's the same for everyone. And I will say it again, everyone just needs to feel that they've been seen and that they've been heard and that they matter.
That's the most important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so moving on to sort of a completely different topic, really, but so no matter how you define success, there are certain daily habits that can help you to achieve that. So what can our listeners do, Gabrielle, to set themselves up for an amazing day?
Yeah, really, really glad you've asked me this one, because this is my favorite. This is my favorite little mind hack, if you like, that I use a lot with all my clients, and I love sharing this, and it's extremely powerful. So, and particularly right now, because routines are really important, and it's a 10-10-10 morning routine, and I like to call it my power morning ritual. So I'm going to take you through it. So yeah, so what this is a great thing, and I give it to all my clients, and particularly, you know, we've just been talking about the guys. This is a great thing for them that they can use right now without even going out and getting help, because this can actually change someone's mood, change someone's mental health, change their life anyway.
I'm glad you mentioned this, because the morning routine is something that I've been thinking about changing, because I don't know about you and a lot of people listening, that the first thing I do is pick up my phone. You know, it's my alarm clock. It turns on, and then I start scrolling, if that's through Facebook, Instagram, emails, you know, anything else. And that's my first thing. And I tell myself that it's waking me up, you know, it's waking my eyes up and things like that. And that's what I do every morning. So I'm hoping what you're about to sort of share is going to change that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is not helping you. So I should just go through it. So this is my power morning ritual. And you only need 30 minutes for this, because I think 30 minutes is reasonable. Any more than that is too much. You know, we've all got lives. And if you can't make that 30 minutes, you need to get up 30 minutes earlier. Getting up 30 minutes earlier, you can easily fit that in, because, you know, you may as well be doing this 30 minutes of this power morning ritual rather than 30 minutes of sleep. So
yeah, if you can spend that 30 minutes in the morning and have an amazing day, you know, why wouldn't you?
absolutely. So the first thing is, never press snooze. The minute your alarm goes off, you get out of bed. This is going to stop you from procrastinating for the rest of the day, because this creates that procrastination habit, because you're pressing snooze and you'll already start to feel sluggish the minute you do that. It stops the sluggishness, it stops the procrastination. So you don't press snooze, you get out of bed, you make the bed. It's the first thing you do. And then we start the ritual. So it's 10-10-10, and it doesn't really matter what order you do this, but there is 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of filling your mind with good stuff. So no looking at your phone. So you don't pick up your phone. There's no social media, no emails, no news.
I might miss something important though.
Yeah, but you would have been asleep for those 30
No,
minutes.
yeah.
You know?
That is very true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have been asleep. This is the most important thing you can do. And when you do this, you're just going to fill yourself with such amazing stuff, and you're going to have such a powerful, amazing day. So, you know, 10 minutes of meditation, and there's some really easy, simple meditations that you can Google. You don't have to do an hour's meditation. 10 minutes will set you up for the day. 10 minutes of movement, which can be anything, can be sit-ups, can be star jumps, you can do your yoga, you can jump on your bike. 10 minutes of movement. And then, you know, grab your tea and coffee and do 10 minutes of filling your mind with good stuff. So it may be the affirmation pack that I'm going to send to you, and you read the affirmations. You can change it up. You might listen to a podcast that makes you feel good. You might read a book that's filling your mind with good stuff. Anything that's good for you in that other 10 minutes, and then you can start your day. But I've got one more thing to add to this. So when you get in the shower, so then we all get in the shower, and that's part of the morning ritual. So a little bonus, if you like. So when you get in the shower, we often get in the shower, and that's when it starts. Our mind starts to go, and we start to have the worries, and we start to think about what our day. The best thing you can do there is give yourself this statement and say to yourself, whilst you're in the shower, because there's nothing else to do. So whilst you're in the shower, you just say to yourself, what's the one thing that I'd like to achieve today? You say that to yourself, something will come to your mind, because that's when our mind's quite active. And instead of thinking of everything else, just think of that one thing. And it might be to do with your relationship, your family, it might be personal, it might be work. It really doesn't matter. Just think of that one important thing. When you get out the shower, write it down, because we often have these little light bulbs and we forget. Have yourself a book that's called your shower book, and write it down each day, and then have that your focus, that this one thing needs to happen. This is a great way to start getting through your goals and getting those important things done. And the other thing is, this whole ritual, don't make it do it 5 days a week or 6 days a week. Always have a day off.
Sure.
Yeah. You don't have to think, well, I can't do this, it's Sunday and I should be doing my ritual. Have a day off and just do it. But this actual ritual can change your life. It can just make your whole well-being be totally different.
It does sound really inspiring, and I think, as you say, it sort of sets you up for the day. I guess the one of the steps was meditation. I think sometimes meditation gets a bit of a bad rap as a bit airy fairy. I don't know how else to express it, but it doesn't have to be like that. It's not sort of sat in a corner with your legs crossed and sort of umming it, and it's a lot more sophisticated than that, I think.
Absolutely. Anytime you're sitting quietly and you're just letting the thoughts drift, you're actually meditating. But you could find some guided meditation to do for 10 minutes. There's some great ones out there. Just Google, and I say, find the one that works for you. I'm going to have some soon on my website. Don't have them at the moment, but I'm giving this out more and more. And meditation, meditation can prolong your life. Meditation can help with so many things. It is so good for you. I can't tell you enough. So if you can get meditation into your day, and just for 10 minutes, seriously, it can give you so many health benefits.
That's really good. And I think that is something, I'm not just saying that because you're here. I am going to sort of action that, and I might even start doing that from tomorrow. Why not start
Perfect.
from, and I look forward to letting you know how that sort of goes. And I think once you've done it for a few weeks maybe, and that'll start to become a bit of a habit, and then it becomes part of your life, and it's you never turn back, I guess, is the.
Absolutely. And if you've got a morning where you're thinking, I can't quite get that in, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up. The more you do it, the better you'll feel. But you should never beat yourself up when you can't get something done.
I know on a previous podcast episode we spoke with Chris Piercy, and he said about we were talking about gratitude diaries, and he talked about creating a positivity list, which is very similar to what you were talking about there with the affirmations as well. So it's about getting those positive messages into the beginning of your day, and then using those to have that amazing day and sort of lift you off.
Because the difference is, we could talk for hours about this. I use gratitude diaries and positivity diaries with all my clients. But, we can get up in the morning, a lot of things, the mind will work with what you tell it. So if you get up in the morning and you say, I hate my life, I hate my day, I hate my body, you look in the mirror, I don't like my hair, I hate my job. If you say all these things, that's what life will give you, and that's how your day will be. So if you give yourself good things first thing in the morning, you're going to change your day each and every day. It's like giving yourself a gift every day.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that we can do that just through the words that we say to ourselves.
That's fantastic advice, and I hope everyone listening sort of takes this on board and gives it a go at least. And yeah, I look forward to giving it a go myself. And as I say, I'll let you know sort of how I get on with that. I'm quite excited to see how that goes.
That's perfect. I love that.
So, do you have any other sort of specific advice for listeners right now who might be struggling in the times that we find us, but generally as well?
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of talk about the uncertainty. So I'm going to flip that subject slightly at the moment, and I'm going to talk about happiness, because
Okay.
I think we could all do with a bit of positivity in our lives,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
something different. So, do you know that happiness is absolutely hackable? And you can put happiness into your life. And sometimes that's all we need to do. We just need to concentrate on installing that fun, installing that happiness. So when people say to you, chat to a cheerful friend, dance, watch a happy film, play a game, music, have some cheerful music on, it's all absolutely right. It's the best thing that we can do for ourselves. We can install happiness the same as we can install unhappiness by listening to too much news and too much of the bad stuff. We can install happiness by putting good stuff into our life. And there's another reason for doing this, and it's also proven to reduce anxiety and stress, because when we flood the body with happiness, good feelings, happy hormones, you override those stress hormones. So another thing you can do is a bit like what we were talking about earlier: tell yourself different words. It's all about the words. And what I mean by this is change those words that you're saying right now. So you can say things like, I'm safe at home. My family are safe at home. I'm doing my best in this time. And the other one, I'm allowed to have fun and I'm allowed to be happy. So allow yourself to be happy now. And
That's
if,
it. There's
yeah, if
none of us can change the situation we're in, so we've got to
the
make the
best,
most of it.
absolutely. And I appreciate there's some bad things
Mm,
happening, but for those of us that can, if you wrote that statement, allow yourself to be happy now somewhere and see it every day,
yeah.
it would just make you think about it.
Mm. Three questions that I want to ask every guest. So the first one is, can you share your favorite quote with our listeners?
Okay, so I've got so many. It's a difficult one because I'm always giving out quotes, but I suppose the one my parents installed in me, which I always think about every day and I love. So you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, and always shine your light brightly. And that's from my amazing parents, and I live by those statements. Yeah.
Yeah, some lovely words there.
Yeah.
I think this kind of links into the sort of the next question. You've mentioned your parents there. You've mentioned your sons earlier on. What inspires you to do what you do now?
So I've really got a passion for what I do. I love helping people. I love teaching people about how the mind works. I'm fascinated in how the mind works. Yeah, my family have inspired me to do what I do. Um, I've also been in a bad place myself. So I've also been through redundancy, I've been through heartache, I've been through PTSD. I've had, I've been in a dark place myself, and a really bad place. And I came across RTT and it helped me so much. And that inspired me. I really love that I found something where I know what the struggles are, I know how it feels, and I actually feel that I found my calling and my passion. And every time I help someone, it just fills my heart. I just love helping people.
Yeah, and you're obviously then coming from a place of understanding, and
Absolutely.
and it feels like you've got the RTT helped you in your situation, and therefore you're giving this gift of treatment to others and helping them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm building on it because I'm adding modalities to it, that just makes it so much more powerful. I mean, who wants to be sat with sadness or hurt or trauma for years and years. Nobody does. They just want to get rid of it. And you can get rid of it. You can heal, and you can heal quickly. You don't have to be suffering, and you don't have to be taking tablets. You can heal. There is a better way, in a positive way as well, because what I do is really, really, really positive. It's done in such a positive way.
So if there's anyone that's listening here that in themselves or knows someone that's in a place in their life where they sort of need to get out of, and what they hear here, what you've talked about today, sort of resonates with them, and they're sort of unsure about the idea of sort of going to someone and talking to someone about their issues and therapy generally, what advice would you give? I mean, obviously during this podcast you've sort of shared that passion and that sincerity with these situations, and I think that really does come across, and someone easy to talk to. But yeah, have you got any sort of advice for anyone that might want to?
Yeah, there is help out there, and the only way you can heal from this is to talk about it and trust someone and reach out and get help. And I'm here for anyone. I'm always happy to jump on the phone for 20 minutes, and it might be you that's suffering, it might be somebody that you know that you want to talk and get some advice on. There is another way. And when I work with somebody, I empower them. I give them the power. So they're not relying on me. I give them the power, and I reprogram and rewire the mind so that they can go forward in life and achieve so much more. And it's absolutely safe to do this, and it's so beneficial. You know, I've got people. I had a guy a while back who came to me, and he said to me, after 2 months of working with me, he said, do you know what? I felt so bad before. He'd got a family, he'd got children, he'd got his own business. And he said, I felt so bad before. And if I knew what I knew now about how you could help me so quickly, even if I had to remortgage my house, I would definitely do this work, because you don't need to be suffering. You can
That's a great testimonial to.
Yeah, and I do it all over Zoom. So
yes, so you were using Zoom really before it was kind of cool and popular, but so that's really reassuring for people that might not want to visit in person, that it can be done across Zoom.
Yeah, you because you can feel absolutely safe, you can feel comfortable, you can get yourself a blanket, you can light your smelly candles, you can just feel comfy in your own environment, and you don't have to get in the car afterwards, so you can just chill.
That's so true. So do you have any other words of wisdom that you would like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, I would actually. I'd just like to say that if you take anything from this talk today, I just want you to know what my intention or my gift for you is these few thoughts. So I just want to say, install some happiness into your days. Allow yourself to be happy now. Create this power morning ritual that's going to change your life. Look after your loved ones. Show some kindness in the world. And most importantly, look out for the men around you, those that might be suffering in silence, and encourage them to seek some help. And if you are the guy who's struggling, just know that you're not alone, and it's perfectly okay not to be okay. And most importantly, there is another way. There is help for you. You can turn things around, and you do deserve an amazing future and an amazing life, and it's right there in front of you. So I just want to send my love to everybody and a huge hug for everybody right now, and I'm here if anybody wants to jump on a call.
Thank you, Gabrielle. I think that's the perfect way to end this podcast. But actually, before you go, so how can people get hold of you? How's the best way to get hold of you?
So I'm on all the social media channels. So Gabrielle Preston Banks. You can get me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And my website is www.gabrielleprestonbanks.com. And again, please do send me your email address and just tell me that you've listened to the podcast, Dean's podcast, and I'll send you the little affirmation sheet that hopefully can help with your morning routine. And I'd love to chat.
That's wonderful, and I'll make sure to add all the links and everything down in the show notes below.
Thank you, Dean, and thank you for this opportunity to get the word out there.
Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and we've talked a lot of a lot of different subjects, and it's I think it's been really useful, and I'm going to go try this morning ritual from tomorrow. So I look forward to doing that. And thank you very much. Thank you. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Gabrielle again for joining me on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really recommend giving Gabrielle's morning ritual routine a go to set you up for an amazing day, and it only takes 30 minutes of your time. As always, check out all the links for everything we have mentioned in the show notes below, and you can also contact Gabrielle for her free gift of affirmations, so do check that out. Please do head over to Apple Podcasts to leave a review and get in touch via Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm Dean Odell, and this is the Mind Hustle Podcast. Thank you for listening, and have an amazing week.